All right, try two. This time with audio. So yes. Tim, that was a fair comment over on the YouTube chat. That was a riveting start to the chaos. It is currently 8 a.m. on the West Coast. Mornings are hard. I'm not sure what's going on. Fraser needs 10 minutes. I figured I would just pop on and answer questions and things like that since I was already set up. So I am live. I am alive. It has been a weird 2 weeks. Last week was one hell of an emotional roller coaster. I went from I was at a writing retreat, working on writing fiction, because that's something I have a dream of doing with my life. And you can't actually make dreams come true unless you work on them. So I was working on it. And while I was working on writing a fiction story about a asteroid and a collision course with Earth, because we need more of that in our lives, I got word that I finally have an asteroid named after me, which, I mean, that sounds like a really obnoxious way to say it. I hear what just came out of my mouth, but the truth is, like, so many of my friends have had asteroids named after them for so many decades, and I can't tell you how many times I've been at the dinner table while people got into a pissing match over who had the lowest asteroid number. So on Monday, I panicked a friend because I was like, oh my God, that was wild. I was writing a story about an asteroid hitting the Earth when I got the news. And she was like, oh my God, this timeline. I'm like, no. I'm actually writing fiction right now. So I panicked a friend. I had a really good Monday. Tuesday was a Tuesday. They're never great. They're never terrible. And then on Wednesday, I was sitting on a sofa writing longhand on my iPad like a 12-year-old, except iPads have handwriting recognition, so it totally works. And I heard muttering, and I was like snuffly, and I had a headache, and I thought it was all allergies because I have terrible allergies. But no, the event I was at, despite the fact that we all had to test for COVID before we arrived, someone had shown up with COVID. We don't know who. It could have been me. It could have been anybody that picked it up while flying. And 6 of us were put into quarantine. We had our own reading group that way. Totally unintentional. And so I got to go through how do you get Paxlovid while you're traveling, and neither CVS or Walgreens was still stocking Paxlovid. And it was just a week, and finally got home, quarantined until I was throwing negative. I like masked the shit out of myself while traveling, and I was on Paxlovid, and it had been 5 days before I traveled, so like I hit all the criteria marks. But yeah, I'm finally home. I'm still snuffly. I still think it's allergies. And yeah, so the meteor is named Pamela Gay and not Star Strider, and that's okay. So yeah. Yeah, so that's been my past week. This is my first time down in the studio since a week ago, 2 weeks ago Friday, 2 weeks ago today. And yeah, I need to water plants. The plants are sad. But it's been a weird week in space science. Star Strider, null denominator, I completely agree. That would be an amazing name for an asteroid. But this way, if it does hit the Earth, I can always say, no. It's actually named after the coroner in New York. There is someone who shares the exact name I have in New York who just retired from being a coroner. Getting her Google alerts was never fun. Anyways, it's been a wild week, and space science. We've seen a massive change to how the Artemis missions are planned. We saw another failure of the Japanese Kairos missions. We saw really cool science coming down from all of our telescopes, including the news that makes me super sad that YR 2024 or 2024 YR, I forgot its number already, I'm a bad human, is not going to strike the moon. It's going to miss the moon by a matter of like 45 minutes. I was really hoping the moon would take one for science and we could watch that. Yeah. Broken Symmetry asking on Twitch, does it have a number 2? Because shortened Meteor PG-13 would be good for most ages. It sadly does not have that number. Hold on. It's on my blue sky. I need to memorize it because I know people are going to ask. Not there yet. I'm going to actually leave it for the audience to Google. I'm going to let Fraser in, and then I will be right back with Fraser. So hold on. We are live, I tell you.
It's alive.
All right, our audio levels look level.
Do they? Are they? Are you sure? Sure someone's not going to say?
I mean, all I can tell you is how they look. They sound fine to me, but my ears are lying liars, which is why I do not edit audio ever.
Yeah. The lying liars that lie.
Yeah. Ian is like, actually good. Thank you, Ian.
Finally.
Oh, man.
Oh, so what do you think about Star Trek Academy?
I still need to watch it.
Oh, you haven't watched it? Okay.
No. I've heard so many good things, seen so many good things, but I was trapped in a small room until very recently, and
Okay.
so yeah.
Well, then I will hold off giving my perspective of the show.
All right.
Until after you've watched it.
All right.
And then we will come together and we will discuss it, because it is, yeah, I have thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. But One Piece starts in a week from now.
Wait,
season 2.
Okay, I was going to say
live action One Piece. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I needed to know,
I don't know
because
whether
the
you
other
watched.
one has like 3,000 episodes, and I'm not sure that's hyperbole or not.
No, it's merely 1,100. Come on. More episodes of One Piece than there are episodes of Astronomy Cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that's coming next week. I am pretty excited about that. Whoa, I'm a dragonfly. Okay.
Yeah, no. I screwed up. I went to drag the wrong window. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to see the eclipse at all? Was it?
So we had the most fascinating counter programming here. So everyone was billing the eclipse as the blood moon and yada, 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 creepy. And I wake up taking a dog to the face as thunder and lightning roared and flashed. And there is something poetic about having a massive Midwestern thunderstorm during a blood moon. I deeply appreciate the planning of Mother Nature that went into providing me that experience. I wish I hadn't taken the dog to the face.
Right. Yeah. I had my telescopes rolling, ready to set up, ready to record, broadcast. I was showing it, but there was like light cloud, and the clouds just got worse and worse and worse. And about 20 minutes in, I'm like, nope, this isn't going to happen. And I was right. It was rain all night. So no, we had no eclipse here.
I combined both first and last names. Aviva Yamani, who is our project director for 365 Days of Astronomy. She does a lot of stuff in Indonesia, not in English language. And she got the most amazing photo from Bangdong with her sea star.
Wow.
And it was a mix of clouds and eclipse that just looked like a painting from a haunted house movie.
Yeah, like what you want ideally for the
Yeah.
best composition is you want some clouds in the sky. You want something that kind of makes it like if you can have a cloud partly in front of the like that's incredible,
Yeah.
right? But then a few clouds can turn into more clouds, and so you really don't want any clouds.
They bring
But
friends.
yeah, it is more entertaining if you have no clouds. You get to
Yeah.
enjoy the whole thing. So yeah, it was anyway, I'm mad. I'm a little angry, not gonna lie. Cause I was like, I was ready to go. I had this really cool setup where
man.
I could sit on my couch controlling the telescope,
Yeah.
changing the exposure at the different times as we switched out. I had a little interface that showed the time and the phases where it was showing it was making its way through the phases. It was all good to go. And then, yeah, I learned a lot of valuable lessons just about how to composite
Yeah.
the layout for the internet. And it's sort of a totally different, because essentially the interface that I was using to control the telescope was nothing like the interface that was being displayed through OBS. It was putting out little bits of browser pieces
Okay.
that were transparent. And so it was then building up
Yeah.
the layers in little browser bits that then OBS was able to composite together and
That's
display
cool.
the nice picture of the eclipse as well as all of the information. And so I learned a ton about like, okay, now this is the way I do this, right? But unfortunately, I wasn't able to. And it's rained nonstop since. So the second I have clear skies, I'm back out cranking on it again, and I'll figure it out.
So your telescope is Wi-Fi based. Do you have a repeater that allows you to get good signal with it far enough away from the house to not get the
Big,
roof?
long extension. I have a big, long network cable. No, I'm not messing around. Yeah, yeah. So I have
That's awesome.
I have a big, long extension cable, and I have a big, long network cable, and so the two connect up to the telescope. And so I put it out far enough away that it can see 365, but it loses about 15 degrees in all directions just because of trees and
But
houses
you don't
and stuff.
want those 15 degrees anyways because the atmosphere is a mess.
Yeah, they're the worst, and so everything is sorted by what's as directly overhead as possible, and so I can muck around in all of the constellations that are up high. So yeah, this is it's very cool. It's kind of amazing. So I'm really looking forward to being able to actually do the live stream. I just need the weather to change, but or move the whole telescope down to Texas, right?
I mean that is what the cool kids are doing, I've heard.
That is exactly what the cool kids are doing. Yeah, totally. All right, well, let's do our jobs.
Okay. I am pressing record on the audio. I lost the video. There it is. I am pressing record on the video. All things. Oh, you said I accidentally made you far shorter than you should be. Let me fix that.
I'm over here. Now I'm over here.
Yeah, mistakes were made. Okay. I'm still sitting taller than you, but I can fix that. There
we go. Okay, can I speak now?
Yeah.
Okay. Astronomy Cast, episode 785, Magnetars. Welcome to Astronomy Cast, our weekly facts-based journey through the cosmos, where we help you understand not only what we know, but how we know what we know. I'm Fraser Cain. I'm the publisher of Universe Today. With me, as always, is Dr. Pamela Gay, a senior scientist for the Planetary Science Institute and the director of CosmoQuest. Hey, Pamela, how you doing?
I am doing well. I've had the weirdest 2 weeks, and I caught COVID for the first time.
Oh no! How are you feeling?
I'm still snuffly, and I'm not convinced it isn't allergies because I've been snuffly for a month, and I haven't had COVID for.
You did test positive for COVID.
Yeah.
That's, like, you could be like not experiencing much of the disease and you also enjoying allergies. So
right. I think that is indeed what happened. Yeah. And there were 6 of us at a little tiny event that everyone tested before they arrived. But the current version of COVID has a 2-day incubation period. So on Wednesday, having all gotten together on Sunday, 6 of us tested. Yep. Yeah. So it was It was a
That
thing.
sucks.
It was a
Yeah.
thing. So thank you everyone for your patience, for your well wishes, for putting up with my fever dreams posted to the internet.
Right.
But I have a question for you. It
Okay.
is spring. Have you
Hmm.
had the first bear sighting of spring yet?
No, no. I don't even have that in my calendar. I have a calendar of all of the key events that have happened,
Right.
and we're kind of marching through first robins,
Yeah.
what we call the frog chorus, where the frogs just go berserk at night. First thrush, first crocus. But I haven't written down first bear. But they're soon. They typically show up around within the next month or so. So I'll let you know when I see first bear. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds awesome. We have hit the owls are definitely wanting to get it on season,
Right.
and it sounds
Yes.
like the owls sound like monkeys this
So
time
which
of
kind
year.
of owl do you guys have around you?
We have
Is
barred
it
owls.
you have
Yeah,
barred owls? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that is a. So we have them as well, but they're invasive here.
Oh,
Although, I mean, like, how do you say it? Like a bird that
right.
flies around is invasive, right?
Yeah.
Birds just go where they want to go. So, but yeah, we have barred owls, and so I think I've mentioned this in the past. My way of finding barred owls is you just listen for the robins going berserk.
Oh,
Yeah, so if you hear like a whole bunch of robins just losing their minds, they're usually clustered around a barred owl, and so you can just
that's
go into the
wild.
forest, listen for robins. You guys have robins there too, right? American
We
robins.
do, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they stick to the ground. That's their
Well,
domain.
so they'll be. So if you go into the forest, you
Yeah.
just listen, and if you hear a whole bunch of robins really angrily chirping,
Uh-huh.
they've got an owl in locked in on an owl, and they're just
Okay.
harassing it. Yeah.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
have
Well,
to try this.
let's move on. Magnetars are a special type of neutron star with physics that defy comprehension. Magnetic fields so powerful they could strip you apart at an atomic level. But where do they come from? So many mysteries to uncover about magnetars. And we'll talk about it in a second, but it's time for a break. And we're back. All right. So what is a magnetar?
Uh the they're angry little monster neutron stars.
Right.
These are sometimes pulsars, not always. They are definitely neutron stars. So they're about 20 miles across, about 30 kilometers across, size of Manhattan Island. They have some of the most powerful magnetic fields kicking around, and they
I have
seem,
this number in my head,
yeah,
actually.
go
It's
for it.
well, it's 10 to the power of 15 Gauss.
Okay. I do
So
not store that number. Thank
yeah,
you.
so the Earth is, I think, about 3 Gauss.
Yeah.
So that's ludicrous,
The
right?
the thing about them that lives rent free in my brain is in December 2004, a magnetar on the other side of the core of our Milky Way from us, so basically half a galaxy away, got the neat idea to rearrange its magnetic field, and it
Right.
released such high power gamma rays that it saturated telescopes pointed in completely different directions, orbiting telescopes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And these things have slowly, we're understanding, are responsible for soft gamma ray repeaters. They
Hmm.
may be responsible for ultra fast radio bursts. They just do lots of things, and
Yes.
they're violent about it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So then you say that they are neutron stars, and
Yeah.
so like we know that you get neutron stars from the death of a massive star. It runs out of fuel, implodes,
Right.
the infalling material builds up at the core. You get this neutron star.
Yeah.
And then when they are first formed, they are rapidly spinning because they have the combined angular velocity momentum of
Original
all of the
star.
material of the
Yeah.
original star, and so they are spinning, they are pulsating, putting out these radio waves.
And
This is
they're
all
not
very
pulsating, just to clarify language,
yes.
because
Sorry.
so pulsating stars are actually like changing in radius. I love these buggers.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
these have a misalignment between magnetic field and rotational axis. And as the pole of the magnetic field whips around, it gives off a jet that we see as a burst of radio signal.
Right.
Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and that is a pulsar.
Yeah.
And that as a pulsar ages, it is bleeding off its rotational energy through gravitational waves. It slows down, and eventually it stops being a pulsar and just switches to being a regular old neutron star.
Right.
And so this is the normal behavior of the neutron star. You start off as a pulsar, you end up as a neutron star.
And the normal formation mechanism also needs to be addressed, because as far as we're concerned, your run-of-the-mill everyday neutron star comes into existence when a massive star, so something 9 to 10 solar masses or larger, when it's a main sequence star, fails to lose enough mass in its old age. And so instead of collapsing politely down into being a white dwarf, it undergoes some sort of a supernova explosion, and what's left behind is a core of neutrons that have so much mass that the gravitational push on the object causes electrons and protons to go, can't separate any longer, and they merge into neutrons. So that is how neutron stars should form.
Right. And so then that is the norm. That is the normal writing. And that is not what we're talking about today. We are talking about magnetars, which are different.
And weird.
So, and weird. So I guess, like, how would you sort of just describe physically a magnetar as a comparison to a neutron star? How do we sort of think about that?
Well, so they are both neutron stars.
No, I know, but like
so pulsars,
why do they have a name, right?
Yeah.
Like, why are they different?
So pulsars are sometimes rotating as much as 1,000 times a second. Magnetars are looking more like 1 to 2 times a second. There are pulsars that are magnetars. But they have this massive magnetic field that pulsars don't normally have. And it's looking like maybe 1 in 30 pulsar neutron stars have a magnetar phase in their life. And so the question becomes, is it 1 in 30 massive stars going supernova that end up forming a magnetar due to some sort of conservation of magnetohydrodynamics and magnetic flux, so that as an object that already had a magnetic field that was massive collapses down, something occurs? Is this just a weird thing that some stars have for other physical reasons? The understanding of how you get this magnetic field is that in the formation of the neutron star, there is a chaotic layer that rearranges itself, which is why we get these amazing starquakes, that is responsible for the dynamo inside the magnetar. But then, so, I mean, the thing is, pulsars we normally find in young stellar populations. We find them in star-forming regions. We find them in the disks of spiral galaxies. They go where massive stars are still in the process of dying. But then magnetars are like, no, I'm going to be over here with the old guys. And so that raises the question, and this was magnified, just to use the word magnetic as much as possible in inappropriate ways, by the discovery of a weirdo magnetar with the license plate SGR 0501 plus 4516. So that's a soft gamma ray repeater. It is on its way through the disk of our own Milky Way. We know we have magnetars. They blast us occasionally. But it can't be traced back to a supernova remnant. And so the thinking is that maybe there are binary systems where a white dwarf is somehow able to gain mass from its companion in a way that somehow, there's a whole lot of the word somehow involved in magnetar science, that somehow causes it to transition from being a white dwarf with electrons and protons just barely holding each other apart with electron degeneracy pressure to, in a massive release of gamma rays, but without a supernova, transition into being a neutron star. So
Right.
we're still figuring out how, and as science likes to keep showing us, our idea that there's going to be one pathway doesn't necessarily have to be true. So it could be both pathways are possible.
All right, we're going to talk about this some more, but it's time for another break. And we're back. So you mentioned one possible way that magnetars come into existence, that a white dwarf is somehow upgraded into a magnetar. There is another one, and I actually recently did an interview with scientists about this, that it's thought that maybe you can have either merging white dwarfs or merging neutron stars, and you get a kilonova.
Yeah.
But the total mass of the object is still not heavy enough to turn into a black hole. And so you've mashed together the rotation and the momentum of these two, city-sized monsters, and you end up with something that is ferocious. And they did a scan of a believed kilonova event using radio telescopes, trying to detect the presence of a magnetar there, and they failed. So in that case, it doesn't look like it formed a magnetar, but they're tricky. Yeah. It's a very tricky observation to make. And so that is another way. But I mean, we've heard as many theories on magnetar formation as there are scientists.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's a transitory thing. So it's not only that not every neutron star is a magnetar, it's also that only during a temporary, and we don't know, is this measured in hundreds of thousands or millions of years, only for a temporary period of time, is this what's going on in these stars. Eventually they discombobulate themselves. They go from having these chaotic layers, this high power magnetic field, to relaxing that magnetic field and no longer being a magnetar, just being a normal neutron star. And so that fact that it's transitory makes it even harder to figure out. And that point you made about they're hard to detect, I can't stress that one enough. Unless there being a soft gamma ray repeater, we're stuck looking for things like Zeeman line splitting and wild polarization and other things like that that are indicating magnetic fields. And those are hard detections to make.
Yeah, that idea of polarization, I think, is a great way to kind of look at it. That when magnetic fields interact with dust and things around it, they can align the particles.
Yes.
The particles emit radiation. The radiation is polarized. And so you can use a very powerful radio telescope to scan a region and detect this polarized emissions coming from this location that was caused by a magnetic field. The more aligned the particles are, the stronger the magnetic field is that's working in that vicinity.
But you have to have the particles.
But you have to have the particles, exactly, yeah. Yeah, so you need a certain kind of characteristics to show up for you to be able to make those kinds of observations. That soft gamma ray repeater. Can you give me, why do they call it a soft gamma ray repeater?
So,
what's soft about it? Gamma rays are hard.
Astronomers should not be allowed to name things, okay? Okay. So
yeah, I believe we have set this as maybe our top rule on Astronomy Cast.
So someone asked me to name something last week. I was like, no, I'm an astronomer. No.
Yeah.
So hard and soft get used in gamma rays and X-rays to refer to where they are in the spectrum, but also occasionally for how loud they are. Again, we should not be allowed to name things. In this case, it's referring to where they are in the gamma ray spectrum, which admittedly just keeps going forever. It's sort of like radio goes all the way to the long, gamma goes all the way to the short, but soft means they're closer to X-ray.
Right. Okay. All right. So they're right on the edge between X-ray and gamma ray.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. All right. We're going to talk about this some more, but it's time for another break. And we're back. So then, we speculated on a couple of ways that magnetars form. Do we have any sense of what the future of magnetars look like? I mean, this is believed to be a temporary phase in the life
Yes.
of a neutron star. So and they're already rotating fairly slowly.
Yeah.
So what do we think the future holds for magnetars?
They become boring lumps of neutrons that are slowly cooling away neutron stars and white dwarfs, they're dead. And that means that when they form, they are ultraviolet emitting super hot cores of stars. And over time, as they radiate away that energy, they're going to get redder and redder. And we actually have lots of observations showing that white dwarf cooling curve. They're going to go through phase transitions as their crystallization. These are essentially crystals of particles. They're going to go through phase changes as they release energy, as they go into more and more relaxed states. And that's the cool thing about magnetars that we don't see with white dwarfs, is they start out with a certain amount of chaos in their structure just because they collapse down. It's a violent process. And that misalignment of chunks, that's a higher energy state. And over time, they literally rearrange themselves to be lower and lower energy states. They give off these gamma rays, and they're cooling and normalizing themselves into just being a chunk of neutrons that are someday going to do like everything else in the universe and deteriorate and become a nothing. But for now, they're just going to become a cool lump of neutrons, gravitationally held together and getting redder and redder over time.
Right. This idea of essentially starquakes.
Yeah.
Is just so cool. That, when you think about this, people talk about a neutron star, it is a blob of neutrons. But the reality is that it actually has layers.
Yeah.
Like onions and ogres, right?
Yeah.
That it can then, as it cools down, it can rearrange itself. You get these earthquakes.
You just
on the
said
star.
onions and ogres.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have layers.
Okay.
Have you
Nuance.
not seen Shrek?
Yes.
Have you not seen Shrek?
I
Shrek?
forgot that line entirely
Ogres
until
are
you
like
reminded
onions.
me.
They have layers.
I haven't
Okay.
seen it since 2001. I am sorry.
No, it's fine.
2002,
Fine.
I guess, whenever it came out.
You should have just let it roll past you. And just, a tiny part of the audience got my reference and like, nice one, Fraser. And you just had to ruin it for me.
I did.
So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just edit that out, Rich. I don't want anyone to hear it. No. So yeah, this idea that they have these quakes, that they will rearrange themselves. You get and there's just a great instrument on board the International Space Station.
Yes.
That the nicer instrument that is studying neutron stars and detecting these flashes as neutron stars are rearranging themselves and sending out short little blasts. And so it shows that these things are more active than I think we had described. You call them a piece of degenerate matter. They're dead.
Yeah.
They're dead and dying.
Yeah.
And yet, in fact, they're not completely dead.
No, they're
the
zombies.
Reference. They're just mostly dead, which means they're partly alive. Okay.
Where's your white horse?
Sorry, continue.
All right. All right, so we have these dead stars with their chaotic interiors and their massive magnetic fields, and when they undergo these starquakes, these magnetic field reconnection events, it's all part of a whole that gives off these gamma rays that vary in intensity. As I said, back in 2004, one attempted to take out a whole bunch of space telescopes because it could. And we've seen multiple of these over the decades from our own galaxies. I believe there's order of tens of these probably scattered about our Milky Way. We do see tens. There's not that many. But it's also estimated there could be and should be millions of neutron stars out there that were magnetars at some point earlier in their life.
Huh. Because there's a billion neutron stars
Yeah.
in the Milky Way.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a super short period of their lives that they go through this. It's sort of like if you think about some short term in human life, you don't see it very often. So like that period in time when a child can crawl but not stand, you don't see that very often because it's such a short period. But even that compared to the length of life of a neutron star is extremely long. So yeah, we're seeing the awkward early days of a neutron star. So the period of time when the zombie is still learning to eat brains, I guess.
Right. But I mean, the fact that we see so few of them
Yeah.
tells us that either it's a very rare sequence of events that causes them some kind of specific unique configuration of a star and a binary companion, or
Yeah.
two colliding white dwarfs, or something that is very bizarre, or as you say, it is a very short phase
Both. This is so
of a
rare.
life,
It's
or it is
probably both.
a rare event plus
Yeah.
a short phase that come together to make these things have such a bizarre and short life, and yet they have an oversized impact on their environment for the time that they're. And the piece that I always like to talk about is this idea that they would tear you apart at an atomic level. So
Yeah. Yeah.
why are magnetars going to tear you apart at an atomic level?
So if you get within roughly 600 miles or 900 kilometers, the magnetic field goes, oh, water molecules are polarized, and
Right.
they just tear you apart atom by atom.
Right.
Yeah, that's a thing.
You will decohere.
Yeah. And I mean, you were already having problems because
Yes.
their gravitational field is just that big.
Right. You're experiencing the tidal forces. You're experiencing the radiation. I
Right.
mean, you've already had a bad day.
Yeah. So ultraviolet light, it's hot. Gamma rays, if they're in the process of rearranging themselves, that's not an everyday occurrence. But that powerful magnetic field in combination with the powerful gravity, when you get that close, and it's the fact that you're taking like 1.42 solar masses of material and crunching it down to the size of Manhattan Island, to the size of Greater London. And you can get really close to that. And because you can get so close, you experience much larger tidal forces.
Yeah, we always talk about that. If you could grab a piece of neutron
Don't.
star and lift it away from the neutron star, even like a teaspoon would weigh
Yeah.
whatever,
Many elephants.
like a mountain, right?
Yeah.
But also would explode. so don't do it. Very cool. They're awesome objects, and like a genuine mystery. And we don't know right now, really, what causes them, what begins this phase of their lives, what ends it, and this is a big chunk of research for a lot of astronomers to get to the bottom of this. So very cool. Thanks, Pamela.
Thank you, Fraser. And thank you so much to everyone out on Patreon. Reading your names this month, there are so many. I am so grateful, and I think I mispronounced a third of them, but we're going to go with this. We're going to try this. Thank you. This week, we would like to thank, and this is where Rich inserts the hot mess that was me trying to say names this month.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, everyone, and we will see you all next week.
Bye-bye. And then they saved. Something occurred while we were streaming that has never happened. My Mac Mini's fan came on. And it was just like, oh, the latest updates. The latest updates are requiring my Mac to work hard. I do not like this.
No, that's unacceptable.
Yeah. That makes noise.
Dropbox. No, I
So,
don't want
so did you see the Mac releases at all this week? They were kind of hard to ignore.
Yes.
So I absolutely love my iPad Pro. Being able to just sit and write longhand when I want to. The iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil understands cursive. It brings my old person energy joy.
Nice.
And the iPad Pro just had a new version I am not going to buy with an
Good.
M chip that just came out, which is like the same chip that's in my Mac Mini, but it doesn't do all the stuff I want to do, so I'm not going to buy it.
No,
But
that's
they,
good. That's resist.
yeah, but they also came out with a new laptop that I'm also not going to buy.
Good. Resist.
That came out with a iPhone chip in it. And the fact that we're seeing that the chipset needed to do what our phones do is capable of driving low-end laptops, and the things you can accomplish with a high-end tablet now require a high-end chip is just kind
Right.
of like,
So weird.
this is the
Yeah.
Star Trek future.
Yeah. So it's, I forget what they call it. The Neo. Yeah. The
Yeah, the
Mac
Neos.
Neo.
They come in yellow.
Yeah. But they're like $600 US,
Right. They're
which is
they're
like that's
awesome
it.
price. Yeah.
They have now got the whole market top to
Yeah.
bottom. And man, okay. So like I need to disclaim this. I hate using Apple products, right? I hate them.
You didn't
I
used
hate
to?
I always have.
Okay.
Always have. Yeah.
You
I
you
hate I
you were more
hate
willing to in the past.
well, no, hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out. No, I hate them. I hate the interface. I hate the sandbox environment, the inability to customize your experience. I hate that they won't let you do things that should be just patently obvious. Like I hate it. I hate them, and I hate the computers and I hate the phones more. Like I really hate the phones. Hate them.
Okay.
You are crazy to not only live in the Mac ecosystem right now. Right? I have a MacBook Pro as my main daily driver computer.
Yeah.
I'm running this on a Mac Mini. Is my streaming machine. I have another Mac Mini that is sort of a server for all of our software applications, and then I begrudgingly have adopted an iPhone from my wife after my Pixel was moved on to my son, and 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 it is just like the battery life on these things is insane. The power of these things is incredible, right? Just the performance for the price is like in the olden days, you would use a Windows laptop and it would slow down and it would run into problems and it would get bloat. And
Yeah.
it would be miserable. You never experience that with the new the Silicon Macs. Like it's crazy. And
Yeah.
I hate it because nobody can come up with something that can do as well as they can, and so they're just running away with the market. I live really in Unix. I live like most of the time I'm in the command line working
Yeah.
with Claude Code and just doing stuff like that, website
And
development.
OS X is a species of Linux.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
implementation of Linux.
Yeah.
And so there's really, trying to set up a Linux environment on a Windows PC is madness. You just go with Linux, right? You just run the Linux machine.
Right.
But then you run into all kinds of problems, and you're
Butterfly.
having to use. Well, if you want to run a Linux machine, then you've got to run like an old Windows PC,
Yeah.
right? You got to run an Intel chip or an AMD chip, and it sucks. So yeah. Like if someone can come up with an ARM-based solution that runs Linux at the price comparativeness as Mac, but no one can because they've just
Right.
got scale. So yeah, so these new machines, I'm running an M3, so I don't need to upgrade for a while. We're
Yeah.
probably gonna upgrade one of our editing machines this run around because we're spending a lot of time doing like a lot of video production. So
Right.
we're gonna get one of those for the editor. But apart from that, yeah, it's
The
they're just running away. And these Neos, absolutely. If you want a computer, get one of the Neo. Like
Right.
there's no downside for you making that your daily driver. The thing's made of aluminum. It's gonna be fast. It's got a pretty good screen. It's got tons of power for what you need. It's the way. Yeah.
and one of the things that our modern world is making me appreciate is the availability of the M series chips that have CPU and GPUs mounted on the same chip is causing them to still be here when everything else has massive shortages.
Yeah, they've avoided the RAM crisis.
Yeah,
by baking it all together.
Right.
They've avoided the GPU crisis.
It's like I am so ticked off that like Valve is having issues coming out with their next generation of hardware because there's just not RAM available. So many companies are going to end up going out of business because they can't release their cool new hyped thing because they can't get hardware.
Yeah. Like the Steam machine, we should have known the price on the Steam machine by now.
Right.
We don't.
We should have been able to pre-order like we could with
have been
the
able
Steam
to pre-order.
Deck.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, and now you can't get Steam Decks.
I know.
They're out of stock too.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is madness. I don't like it.
My husband was eyeing my Steam Deck last night. He's like, "What do you have over there?" And I'm because
he doesn't have a Steam Deck?
No. So what ends up happening is my husband has a hobby of collecting hobbies. And most of the time he will decide there's this one video game he really wants to play. And so he buys the game console and he plays that game. And then he sets it aside and like, I'll give it 8 weeks. And then I steal it when he's not looking.
Right.
This they just drift away into the night.
Yeah.
But the Steam Deck, he had no interest in for whatever reason. He doesn't play Steam games, I guess. And yeah, I don't question, but so the one system I had to buy on my own was the Steam Deck. Everything else I just steal from my husband.
Right.
Yeah.
But you never need anything else. Like the Steam Deck runs your game library.
I do still play the Switch sometimes because I have a few games that I paid for on it that I haven't paid for in Steam. But yeah, and I don't think all the Mario games or Animal Crossing are on
none of
Steam
those
Deck.
are going to none of those are going to be on Steam, but you're going to pay $70 for your cartridge for it to run on your, so we just like play a different game is my like, so I play what just came out? Oh, Slay the Spire 2 just came out.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't played it yet.
I picked that up and I'm sort of halfway through one round of Slay the Spire. But then today, in about 3 hours, Path of Exile's new league opens up, and then that's going to be my life. So
excellent.
Yeah, not enough time.
I have actually been playing with Legos in the real world lately. I've talked about this a few episodes
Explain
back.
this real world to me.
I know. It's something you have to dust, which I really am not a fan of. This is why I like Minecraft more than actual Legos.
I never even thought about that. Yeah, you have to dust your Lego.
Yeah. And like if I learned that using a blush brush is the best way to go because everything else, like you'll be knocking leaves off your trees and stuff.
Right. So you just have like a set. You buy like some cheap set of brushes, and then you can just get in there and brush them off. You're like an archaeologist for your own Lego.
That is the one thing I hate about actual Legos. But yeah, Minecraft. However, you don't run out of blocks that stops you and causes you to go do something else. The thing about Lego is my addictive personality is like, shit, there's no more Legos in this box. I guess I have to go do something else.
Yeah. Francisco Athens said, "Don't ever pick up Vintage Story. We'll never see you again." Oh, it's on my wish list. Raju has, have we tried Kitten Space Agency? I haven't tried it yet.
I've heard really good things about it. It's on my list of things to try. I am so behind on things.
Yeah, like you haven't read things, you haven't watched things. Yeah, no, you're just making your Lego, but that's fine. Like how can we? I mean, is this the modern anxiety? Is that we feel like we have to reach parity with everybody else about the things that we collect and enjoy and read and watch and so on, right?
I want to say that the long tail to how we currently consume things allows people more diversity. But and for me, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that we are so aligned, you and me, right?
Yeah.
We are aligned almost perfectly, and yet we have totally different right? Like, if I listed off the video games that I like, you'd be like, yeah, I'd play all those. And
Yeah.
if you listed off the books that you read, I'd be like, yeah, I'd read all
Yeah,
those. But
totally.
those would be like, yeah. And yet here we are, unable to find common ground, and we are, overlapping Venn diagrams. So I think just the ability for us to connect as a species at a meme level is gone. My kid
Yeah.
my kid sends me memes and I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Right?
The kids' memes are not
Peter,
okay. The
explain the
kids
meme
are
to
okay.
me.
Their memes are
Yeah,
not
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Explain the meme to me because I don't get it. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, boys, it's a reference to the back rooms, which is, I'm like, okay,
And
right.
and we're also biased by the people around us. So, for instance, I have a much, much wider amount of content that I enjoy than a couple of my friends. And so if I'm spending Friday night over at one of my friends who has a narrower set of things they're willing to watch, I'm going to
Mm,
end up watching a whole lot more anime than I would otherwise.
right, right, right.
And so
You adapt.
spouses, wives, friends,
Yeah.
all of these things influence what we're actually consuming. And I've also been highly motivated by there is so much stuff that in the real world I need to get done. So much gardening, so much cleaning of the
Yes.
house.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
So much
means
bike
audiobooks,
riding. Yeah. So
podcasts.
much telescoping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I am I am more efficient now than I've ever been in my life. Like just learning my Chinese and exercising, weightlifting and bike riding and hiking and working on projects around the property and
Right.
staying on top of all of my media. The thing that's gone to the wayside is scrolling on social media, uh, that kind of stuff. So I feel pretty good
Yeah.
about my mix, but even that I'm running out of like play, right? That
Right.
I'm running out of margin that I'm gonna have to go like that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm maximally interacting with my friends and my family. I am out there in nature as much as I can. I am staying on top of the things on my business. I am filling my brain with the best possible content that's ever existed. I am eating very well, and yet I feel anxious all the time because it's a lot of work to
Yes.
do all this stuff, right? So yeah, yeah,
And and I don't know about you, but I read a lot of science press releases that have nothing to do with astronomy and space science because there's so much cool stuff going on in the
yeah.
world. And like, I rabbit holed the other day about chimpanzees liking to play with crystals. And in this world where there is so much cool stuff being
Yeah.
done,
Yep.
the rate at which we are expanding our understanding is
Yeah.
amazing. And
I yeah,
yeah.
I've had to shut off those feeds for myself because it's exactly what you're talking about. You're like,
Right.
"Oh, did you see there's a new study that shows that mice, make these sounds when they do this and those sounds when they do that." Or oh, it turns out that that geologists have discovered, this interesting kind of crystal that is forms of, and I'll just
Yeah.
rabbit hole like crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've actually unsubscribed now from pretty much everything
Oh
that is
man.
a distraction. But you have to replace it with high quality aggregation,
Right.
right? That's the trick is that you replace the drift net with some friend who's out there fishing for you. And so you can, so for example, like you can right now in politics, you can spend your whole day up refreshing YouTube and watching what's going on.
Yeah.
No, pick one podcast where the people have a perspective that you
Hmm.
really appreciate. Maybe they update once a week.
Right.
You'll stay on top of the whole system and you don't have to grind, right? And so for me, like I really like the Slate political podcast.
Oh yeah. That one's really
Gabfest.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been listening to that since day one, pretty
Yeah.
much. And they cover, it's more US focused, but right now, the US affects us all.
Right.
And then the
Sorry.
other one that I really like is The Rest is Politics, which is two
Yes.
British guys, and they cover things from a much more international angle. But I skip a bunch of their podcasts. But like just in general, take these things that are that are causing this anxiety, and boil it down to a some source that is not an echo chamber,
Yeah.
Francisco, that is going to challenge your tribe's perspectives. And that's why I like The Rest is Politics. One guy is conservative, the other guy is liberal.
Yeah.
And together they are a good balance to each other, but also sane.
Are you
So,
following
yeah.
Wired at all?
No.
So I, like so many people, I've been like, all right, so where do I go to get good news nowadays? And it turns out Wired, of all places, has been doing a ton of really good investigative journalism.
Yeah, they had been. I don't know if they'd kept it up.
They have. And
Okay.
because technology is at the root of so much of what's going on in the world, like
Yeah.
finding out that OpenAI had said no to military use of their algorithms, and then the Pentagon was testing it using Microsoft's interface anyways. Just like that's a technology issue going into how politics is playing out in the world. Seeing how Anthropic's training data was old and led to a school being destroyed. That's
Yep.
a technology issue that killed like a lot of people. And so Wired is keeping up with all of this while also telling me the stuff I was interested in learning anyways
the
about
content. That's
new
interesting.
headsets.
I would say, if I had so my aggregator for all things technology is Ars Technica at this
yeah.
point. That's kind of my favorite.
I'm seeing
and
biases in there that I'm not liking, and no easy way to filter out who I am and am not getting content from. So
Yeah,
Wired
yeah,
lets
yeah.
me pick who I'm following with a much more
good.
fine grain.
Man, like I loved Wired so much.
Yeah.
Like 30 years ago, right?
It's same. And then I
Yeah.
unsubscribed for 2 decades, and
Yeah.
now I'm
Yeah,
subscribing
that's
to
cool.
them and not WAPO, because darkness did kill democracy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, here we are. We've reached the end of our episode. We're about to both spin out
Oh
into
my goodness.
into dark places. So why don't we wrap things here? So we've got something special on my channel that we're going to be releasing this weekend.
Okay, tell me more.
I'm going to keep it a bit of a secret.
That's all right. Tell us when.
I don't know, but it's going to be this weekend. So let me see.
All right.
It is enormous.
Okay.
And the reason I don't know when is because resolving the bogus copyright claims
hate shit
is
like that.
inexorable.
Yeah.
So we had one group claim 5 hours
Oh no.
in this video of content, which is just like, it's absolutely bullshit. And so now I'm going to have to fight it in a sort of very specific way.
Yeah.
But the fact that I have to claim 5 hours of a video should tell you that something very weird and big is coming. So
Yeah.
yeah, stay tuned for that. And then yesterday, I interviewed Lee Feinberg, who is he's the architect of the Habitable Worlds Observatory.
Yeah.
He was one of the main people on James Webb, worked on Hubble, has retired from NASA, and is now the mission architect for the Large Interferometer for Exoplanets.
Oh, that's cool.
So he has had his hands in every major space telescope and the next generation ones. And we talked for like an hour and a half, just a mind-bending interview, and we'll be releasing that probably Monday. And
That's cool.
It's my interview of the year. So if you are excited about the future of the Habitable Worlds Observatory, Large Interferometer for Exoplanets, you want to hear a few like little nuggets that, for example, Webb has mountains of propellant remaining.
Yes. Yeah.
They're
they
halfway
conserve
through
so much propellant.
Yeah, the original mission was for 5 years.
Yeah,
Then
they're
they
doing fine.
but they wanted to do 10 years, and he said, I think it's going to be the electronics that go bad before we run out of propellant on this spacecraft. So
That's so cool.
We are looking at decades of productivity out of Webb, which was great. A couple more dings, but they're reorienting the telescope to minimize the dings, has gone beautifully.
Yeah.
So the optics are ahead of quality.
That's
And
also cool.
yeah. So I did a journalism, and so you'll get up-to-date information about what's happening with the telescopes that you care about, and you will learn more about the future of the big observatories than you're going to hear from any other source. So yeah, I
That's
think you'll love
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wild time. We were planning to come out this week over at EVSN with a special episode on rockets that would be going out to Patreon folks this weekend. Except we've had to throw out our script so many times that currently the one sentence we have is we don't know what's going on in space science. Just because every time we turn around, what we had just finished writing up has been invalidated by either Congress or NASA.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's,
International
oh my
Space Station is
goodness.
gonna last 2 days
Stop
long,
it.
2 years longer. They're funding commercial contracts for space stations
Yeah.
that they want to build a base on the moon and
They're
move
getting
away
rid
from the
of an
lunar gateway.
the EUS segment for SLS is being
Yeah.
gotten rid of, but
They're
nothing
looking for a new upper
works.
stage. Yeah. Oh, this is yeah.
Yeah,
It's a mess. But it feels like it's a mess that's moving in the direction of a little bit of sanity. So I don't.
I don't.
I'm okay to watch this play out a little bit more.
It feels to me a little bit too much like when Constellation bit the dust of, was anyone happy with Constellation? Not really.
No.
Was anyone thinking Constellation was going to be money saving? Hell no. Was
Yeah.
anyone thinking Constellation was the best path to return to the moon? No, but it
No.
was a path.
Yeah.
And SLS was an improvement. And I think we have all the same opinions of SLS that we had for Constellation, except it's less of a quagmire, is actually technologically feasible. And one of the things that has happened is we've hit the point in product development where it costs less money to finish what we're currently doing than start over yet again.
Yeah. That sounds
So,
like the sunk cost fallacy
oh
talking.
my goodness.
Yeah.
So there was actually, like, people have done the modeling of the finances where there's certain breakpoints that it makes sense to kill SLS after this and before this. And they're ignoring those breakpoints. Like, there's a really good breakpoint after Artemis. I think it's either 5 or 7 when the architecture changes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
We could do this all day. We got to
It's
wrap it up. I
true.
got to
I'm
go.
sorry. Yeah, I'm
No,
doing, so there's an interview live on CosmoQuest at
okay.
2 p.m. Eastern. Tune in for that. We're talking science with Trisha Epp and how NASA is looking to innovate what they're doing. So,
Thanks, everybody.
all right.
We'll see you next time.
Bye. Okay. Too many buttons. What's happening? I lost the window I need to click. I'm going to re-raid EJ over on that, hitting stop there.